Hello and welcome to the Brick News Podcast, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and a few reading recommendations as well. Information is, as always, presented by ZDB.org, the best source for set information on the internet. And this is, as always, where we are going to go. I cannot report again on any new features on the database, but I can announce that yesterday, or kind of officially in my own planning at least, I completed the performance improvement initiative that I have been working on the last 3 weeks. So hopefully for all of you who consume the site or use the site, zdb.org or merlinsbricks.com, through a mobile phone connection, bad connection, you're in a subway or anything like that, checking out the newest sets in the database, stuff like that, or you're in an area where generally the connectivity is not that good, you should see, hopefully, rather dramatical improvement. At least that has been the goal. So I've been working on everything like image loading, font loading, stuff like that. Doesn't matter. Lots of stuff, but anyhow, I'm more or less done with that. And while at it, I also improved in general the layout, fixed a couple of glitches, especially with focus on mobile devices. As always, if you still see any problems on the site, especially using a mobile phone, just let me know. Drop in a comment under this video if you see this on YouTube, for instance, and I will take a look at that as soon as I can. However, now let's dig in. As always, we are starting with BlueBrixx, because in alphabetical order, they simply come first. And here we have the Apocalypse Monster Limousine announcement, the 108343, designed by Adrian, and it's a 1x18 car. I'm actually not that much into that whole, let's say, topic or area, so it's not really my cup of tea. So I guess it's a car from Mad Max or a similar movie, but it may also be completely free, open design. Anyhow, this thing has, or is going to have, 2,241 pieces. As always with BlueBrixx, at announcement time, we do not know the price point yet, but it is a pretty cool car. It seems to be pretty big. I mean, 2,200 pieces. The back wheel tires look like the big ones that Lego has been using in their Tumbler. So yeah, pretty large car. Looks quite fast actually. Two big block engines in the front, and yeah, huge tires. So here you go. And with that, we're moving on to an announcement of the 108335, the Class 37 diesel locomotive. This seems to be a 6-stud train, so the same format that usually Lego is using with their trains. I mean, BlueBrixx is also doing a lot of larger trains, similar to Mould King, for instance, but I think this is a regular sized one. It has 762 pieces, or is going to have, I should rather say. It's still just an announcment. It's roughly 41 centimeters in length, so that should be around 16 inches, if I'm not mistaken. So not that small of a locomotive. 6 axles as far as I can tell. So here you go, in a blue and yellow color scheme. And then we have the evolution of spaceflight from 1957 to today, 108338. This thing will have 975 pieces, and yes, you have all the different faces. I guess this is mostly NASA/US focused. However, these satellites, I may be wrong here, but is that the Sputnik satellite? And then followed on by the Apollo space shuttle, of course, the ISS, of course, that one is international. Then the Mars rover, and I guess this one on the right, is this the Artemis program by NASA, like going to Mars? I'm not 100% sure. Anyhow, different phases of spaceflight. Quite an interesting diorama. It does have like this plaque here in front, so two 2x3 pieces. So BlueBrixx never renders this into their pictures, but I guess there will be a sticker included as well. This is usually how this works. Designed by Sebastian. Great stuff. And then we have the Centipede 107747. So this thing has 842 pieces, and it's enormous. It's like 80 centimeters in length. That's 31 inches. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you're interested in an insect in that size, this may be for you. Personally, I would be scared like crazy if I had this on my shelf. But I mean, if you're into insects, I think there's a certain there's a maximum dimension I can live with when it comes to insects. So this one has a slight horror movie vibe, but here you go. I mean, if you're into insects, I mean, it's not therefore that they look a bit scary from a human perspective. But yeah, I mean, if you have the space and if you're interested in the topic, 80 centimeters, that's not a small one. Then we have another tank by BlueBrixx, announcement of 107934. So this is a 1x30 scale Leopard 1 or a German Leopard 1 main battle tank. This is actually, I think, one of the most produced tanks, at least by Germany, after Second World War. So the Leopard 1, actually now, of course, German army is now using Leopard 2, and I think this is also a very well-known battle tank. But the main workhorse of the German army and many other armies in the world have used Leopard 1. I think they produced almost 4,700 units of these. I think German army used around a bit more than half of that, but more than 2,000 have been sold around the world. So many armies around the world are still using it. And I'm also pretty sure that more than 100 at least, I think, have been delivered to the Ukraine as well. So this thing has been built between 1965 and 84. It's a 42-ton tank. Obviously, it has been modernized many times, and it uses a 105mm cannon. So this is a 1,225-piece set. Like I said, it's scale by 30. Keep in mind, that is, from a scale perspective, slightly different than what Cobi usually does. So Cobi is doing 1x28 or 1x35, but it is in that ballpark. I think you should be able to combine these. And in fact, we will come to a Cobi set in a second that is in this ballpark size-wise. So this thing is 32 centimeters in length, that's 16 inches roundabout, and 13 centimeters with 5 inches and 17 in height, that's 6.5 inches. So not a small one. Usually these things are manufactured by ZHEGAO. I haven't built it myself, so I cannot confirm that, but that's usually how these work. And everything that you see here should be pet printed. It's a 2-in-1 model. I'm not 100% sure what the 2-in-1 means. I guess, okay, it's a German and a Ukraine version when it comes to prints. So this is, I think, rather new for BlueBrixx that I do this, like multi-country coloring on the pet printed pieces. Typically, this is something that Cobi has been doing for quite a while. Anyhow, we're moving on to another announcement. The municipal sewer cleaner, the 108-336. So this is a 6-stud vehicle, more or less. Ignore the size a little bit. I think the length with 21 centimeters is correct, but the width definitely is not. My guess is that BlueBrixx is giving us the width, including all the stuff that is sitting on here in front, because I guess that's the number that is coming out of the design tool, but obviously that is not for the car itself. However, we do know it's going to have 391 pieces, so I don't know how these things look in other areas of the world, but I can confirm the ones that drive around here in Germany look exactly like this. So I think it's quite authentic. And yeah, here you go. If you have some sewer issues in your brick built city, here you go. BlueBrixx has you covered. And then we have another, I guess, mostly German thing, the Schlingmann TLF 3000 Varos 4x4. So this is a fire vehicle, as it is actually used a lot in Germany. So Schlingmann is a company over here from Germany, and they are basically retrofitting, I guess, mostly Mercedes trucks, but I may be wrong here. I think this one is based on a Mercedes truck. Anyhow, this is going to be the 107800. BlueBrixx has done this car before. However, the original one was back in the day was system built, while the new one is based on Technic. I do not know if BlueBrixx will ever bring back the old one, so this is the way you go. If you're into this kind of, let's say, European fire truck thing, then this may be the right one for you. I assume that everything that we see here is actually pet printed, but I can't confirm that. As you can see, it has several functionalities included. Stuff can be raised, lowered, opened, etc., etc. But in general, I think it is not, and for sure it's not motorized, at least this is nothing they write about here. It's not small, 39 centimeters in length, that's roughly 15 inches, a little bit more. and 14.5 centimeters in width and 17 in height. Here you go, 1,859 pieces. What is interesting actually is, if you look at the two vehicles, they basically have the same piece count. So I would expect usually with a system build set that it will have a lot more pieces with the same size, because I mean, of course in Technic you have all these large panels and stuff, but yeah, here you go. It still needs 1,800 pieces for roughly the same vehicle. With that, we're moving on to another BlueBrixx playset announcement. I think none of these playsets is on the market yet. Am I right? Yes, they are all not on the market yet, I do believe. But here we have another announcement, the City Bus with Station, the 108137. So there are 9 minifigures included, 646 pieces, and yeah, again, depends on where you live in the world, but I can confirm this is how it looks over here in Germany. What is interesting is that on the box, they have the title in English, like City Bus with Station, but the actual signs that you can put on the bus, I mean, museum, I guess, is German and English, service as well, but theater, yeah, this is written different in English, so this is a German sign in this case. Anything else, including the bus sign, should work in both languages. And then we have the announcement of the Street View car. I was quite surprised when I saw this. I always assumed that Google has a trademark on Street View. It seems they do not. Usually BlueBrixx is doing their homework when it comes to IP checks. Anyhow, 108335. This thing it's going to have 207 pieces, so it's a rather small car. It's, I guess, size-wise similar to what LEGO would call a Speed Champion. 14 centimeters in length, that's 5.4 inches, designed by Florian. And then we have now an availability. So the Fire Brigade Large Articulated Platform, 107597. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty large fire vehicle. It's 44 centimeters in length, so that's 17.2 inches. That's quite large, actually. You may not have the space in your city, but if you are thinking about, I don't know, building inside your city a large fire outbreak diorama kind of thingy, this may be for you. BlueBrixx is asking for $55. Of course, as always, you know, this is an international show. Depending on where you live, of course, shipping, customs, blah, blah, blah. But this is a price over here in Central Europe without shipping in this case, but including VAT or value add tax. Over here in Europe, anyhow, $45, 5.2 cents a piece, 5.5 per gram. And with that, we're moving on to the tugboat, which is now available, the 107470. So BlueBrixx has done a similar boat in the past. It was like a fishing boat, similar design style though. And yeah, now we have a tugboat. It's going, or it does have 989 pieces, which is not much. I mean, if you look at the picture, it looks like a lot more. So somehow the designer managed to be very conservative when it comes to pieces, because it has like, it's huge, or it's rather large. It has a ton of detail. It looks like a lot of greebling and stuff like that. And still below 1,000 pieces, that is quite a good to know. And BlueBrixx is asking for $50. That's 5.1 cents a piece. That is not on the cheap side for a BlueBrixx set. I assume that the pieces will be made by Kun Long, as this is typical for BlueBrixx specials. Always keep in mind, with BlueBrixx specials, you have no back separation. So 990 pieces it is. 40 centimeters in length. That's slightly below 16 inches. With that, we are moving on to the white. Oh, how is that pronounced in English? Rhinoceros? I know, I will go with rhinoceros, but I'm maybe entirely wrong here. I do apologize. 107601. So it's a big animal, and it has a big horn, and that's all you need. It has 861 pieces, 31 centimeters in length. That's 12.5 inches. So quite huge. And BlueBrixx is asking for $40. That's 4.6 cents a piece. I really like the design of this one. I mean, it's just a big, big animal. 99% of the pieces are dark, light bluish gray. And quite frankly, the dark 10 that they used below the horns, they could easily have gone with gray here as well. So I guess the designers decided, okay, I need to have something that is not gray. Don't know on the inside though. Usually BlueBrixx is not doing what, for instance, Lego is doing with all the colorful pieces on the inside, but I actually don't know. But I would not be surprised if everything is gray in there. Which of course, I mean, these BlueBrixx Pro sets, they do have back separation, but keep that in mind. This is pretty much focused on very few colors. And then we have an announcement or now pre-order options for the Challenger 2 by Cobi, the 2627. This is a 1x35 tank. This is what I talked about before. So BlueBrixx is going to buy 1x30 scale, and this is a 1x35, which I think for minifigures is the better scale. I mean, I think still 1x35 is a perfect size for minifigures. Cobi, for instance, is also making 1x28 tanks, and they also put in minifigures. Actually, we'll come to such a tank in a second. So yeah, don't get this confused. Basically Cobi is doing two different scales, and both of them are shipped together with minifigures. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really a Cobi tank collector, but I do assume they can go together. Anyhow, 954 pieces, one minifigure. So it's a Challenger 2. So this is the current British main battle tank, as far as I can tell. They have also been shipped to the Ukraine. In fact, Cobi is also putting in different prints, like I've said before. They have been manufactured between the early 90s and the early 2000s. Based on my knowledge, they made around 450 of these. And so, yeah, it is. I wouldn't call it outdated. It is for sure not. But to my knowledge, they are working already on a successor tank. It has a 4-person crew. However, Cobi is throwing in only one minifigure. You can pre-order these over in North America from BlueBrixx, for instance, over here in the European Union by Brickmo. They are located in Austria. And here we go. Challenger 2 2627, one minifigure, like I said. And as I said before, different prints and markings for Ukraine, and Great Britain. It's quite unfortunate that they're throwing in only one minifigure. I would have really liked to have a second one, especially if you look at the turret. They have space for 2 minifigures in here. So that should have been the minimum, but I guess that's not standard with Cobi 1x28 tanks. With that, we're moving on to a Second World War tank, Flakpanzer 4 Wirbelwind. That's a German thing, 2593. And I guess there's no real, I don't know, it's like anti-air tank for Thunder. What is it? Like Tornado, I guess. I don't know why they call this thing Tornado. Anyhow, it's a 1x28 tank. I actually do not have an historic picture of this one. And I apologize for the layout problems here of the text. This is actually a fix is already on the way. Hopefully when you see this or see the news show, it's already been fixed. Anyhow, so the Flakpanzer 4 is based on the Panzer 4 of the German army during Second World War. And basically they use these chassis for multiple anti-air tanks. And Wirbelwind is just one of them. I think they made 3 or 4 different iterations with different flak cannons. I think they made around 100 or slightly above 100 of these specific ones with the 4 2-centimeter guns. So yeah, I think my understanding is they have been quite successful on the battlefield when it comes to, let's say, low altitude, small bombers and fighters and stuff. But that's about all I know. And I wasn't actually able to find a public domain pictures. I'm sure they exist, but I don't have yet one. That's why there's no picture here in the context section. And this is why the entire layout here on the site is messed up, because usually I do have pictures. Anyhow, 1x28, Cobi, Tornado, Flakpanzer 4 Wirbelwind, whatever you may call it. 1,195 pieces, only one minifigure, and like I said, 1x28 scale, slightly problematic, but this thing is 21 centimeters in length. That is roughly a little bit more than 8 inches, and you can pre-order it over here in Europe for around 90 bucks. Don't have a North American listing yet. And with that, we're moving on to P-38 Lightning from Lockheed, the 5882. So this is a 1x48 Cobi airplane, so that's a typical scale that Cobi is using for the airplanes, including bombers, fighters. So obviously, I mean, I don't have to say much, I guess, about the P-38. I think they made more than 10,000 of these, beginning from the early 40s until the end of the war. So it's very well known, especially in the war in the Pacific. And yeah, like I said, they made 10,000 of these. It has two propellers. I guess that is the twin tail configuration is one of the things why I guess it's so iconic. I mean, obviously, I guess it hasn't been that important, I assumed, for the US Navy and US Air Force like the Mustang. And it's for sure not known as well as some of these others like the Hurricane, the Typhoon, or the Spitfire, of course, over here in Europe, or the Messerschmitt. But because it has this twin tail, I guess everybody immediately recognizes this one. 5882, 332 pieces. No minifigures as far as I can tell, which is very unfortunate. However, you can pre-order it for those of you who sit in North America for around $45 US. And with that, we're moving on to something that is, I guess, a bit more exotic, the Kubus. I guess it's pronounced as 3114. My understanding is it's like a vehicle that was used by the Polish defense forces during the Warsaw uprising, I guess. You can pre-order this one by BlueBrixx or Brickmo over here in the EU, or by BlueBrixx in the US, I should rather say. And yeah, it's 1x35. Is this called, could we call this a tank? I'm not sure. Armored vehicle, let's call it that way. It's 2 minifigures, 300 pieces. And then you have also a minifigure pack that goes along this one, the Warsaw Uprising 1944 pack, 2057, a few pieces, but most and foremost 3 minifigures. And again, you can pre-order this one both in Europe as well as in the US. With that, we're moving on to Funhole. One disclaimer, all of these 3 sets, I do not have any official data by Funhole yet. So especially if you look at this number, the 9031, so sounds strange because Funhole already published a set 9033. So I guess, yeah, I guess during planning, they had, I assume that they gave these numbers based on the assumed release order, and then for whatever reason this has been changed, but I do think all of these information are authentic. That's information I have from some of my retail partners, in this case Bauer. So I assume that this is authentic, and because you can actually order it, so I think we should be entirely fine. You can order this set, the 9031, the coffee bookstore at Bauer for around $100. As always, keep in mind Funhole, that includes lighting. 1,718 pieces, and it looks quite nice. There seems to be also at least 4 minifigures included, a couple of animals, but let's see as soon as we have more information when Funhole is starting publishing information on this one on their own site. As may be the case for the travel trailer, the 9032. This one actually looks really, I don't know, it looks like summer vacation a lot. So the vacation vibe is definitely coming across. 1,325 pieces, and again, lighting included. You can pre-order this one for around $76 over in China, and like I said, it really speaks vacation, summer holidays to me. Obviously, these are render pictures. Now, this one looks like a real image. Will be interesting to see what kind of prints we will have in here. I did build the 9033, so the antique store, and this had like a combination of pet printed or UV direct printed pieces, which was quite interesting, but there were no stickers included. So this is what I assume Funhole will be going for going forward, but needs to be confirmed. Like I said, haven't built this one yet. And then we have the Funhole mountain cabin, the 9034. So I don't know, this thing like speaks the Alps to me, or maybe Rocky Mountains, something like that. That looks really, really cool. And you can pre-order the mountain cabin with 2,255 pieces for around $88 over in China, which is a really bargain. Again, it includes lighting. Keep in mind, Funhole, for those of you who are not familiar with the brand, that's the same company that is doing BlueBrixx and Lighttailing, Lego retrofit lighting kits, which are really, really good. They're very high quality. In my personal point of view, I use them a ton. I use them in all my MOCs, and also I've lighted a ton of Lego sets. I'm kind of a lighting guy. I really like if my stuff is enlightened. I don't know. If there's a ton of lights in there, so usually this stuff works really, really well. And this is, again, included. So for instance, I don't know, if you want to buy a certain lighting kit for one of your Lego sets, you're easily in there with like 50, 60 bucks. So always keep that in mind. That is already included. With that, we're moving on to Lego. And here they have now available the Batman 8-in-1 figure, the 40748. So this is a pretty large brickhead. It's technically a single brickhead, and you pay around 25 bucks, at least in the US and Europe. Obviously, other countries, other currencies are slightly different, but it is a pretty large set because it is an 8-in-1 brickhead. However, it is 8-in-1. Keep that in mind. You're not getting 8 different Batmans. You're getting the option to build 1 out of 3. However, all the important stuff is in there, so I guess it should be relatively easy to get the rest of the pieces that you need in case you do intend to build all 8 of them. So, but I think the most important stuff, at least to build like 7 out of the 8, is included by means of printed pieces, etc., etc. With that, we're moving on to Mould King, and here we have now available the new American truck 10037. I actually don't know if that is really the set name. I think it is. It's very hard to read. The pictures that I have at my disposal are not very high quality, not high resolution, but I do know it is a Firas Abu Yaba design. I think that's the first truck that he's doing together with Mould King. And you can buy this one for around 68 bucks. Again, whenever I say this, this includes shipping into Central Europe. But obviously, depending on where you live, the rate may be very different. But I can say this thing has slightly below 1,800 pieces, 44.5 centimeters in length. That's slightly around 17.5 inches. So this is not a small one. It's a system built design, the same as is the Lycan, the 10117. So that's a super sports car, of course. Again, Firas Abu Yaba design, and around 30 centimeter length or 11.5 inches. And you can buy this for around 44 bucks. Again, resolution of the pictures that I have available, not that good yet. But yeah, looks like a pretty nice car. I mean, it is a typical Abu Yaba design, if you ask me. The same as is the Skyline GTR R34. So obviously some of you may ask, hey, where's the Nissan? Because of course this is a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, but Mould King usually does not collaborate. Not usually, I think always, never, I should rather say, collaborate with car manufacturers. So that's why they can't use the trademark. But of course they can make the car, because it's like driving around on the street. 1,471 pieces. Again, Firas Abu Yaba design, and you can pre-order this in China for around 48 bucks. That's 3.3 cents a piece, so that's not too shabby. And then we have also a new Technic announcement or availability, the new bulldozer by Mould King. I mean, they have done bulldozers before, at least I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. Yeah, I mean, Mould King has a long tradition of doing bulldozers. I think, yeah, in different sizes. I would say this one here comes very close to the 15071, as far as I can tell. However, that one had also, I think, yeah, M-Key control or Mould King control. So this had also electrification, but it has with 1,507. No, it is basically the same as the one from today. That is interesting. 15071. Let me just double check. Maybe I made a mistake. No. Actually, I'm not 1% sure what the difference is between the two sets. They have the same piece count, and it's just 1 year in between, so maybe just a couple of refinements. Not 1% sure. Anyhow, here you go, if you are in the market for a bulldozer that you can drive around with. And then we have the Dome Botanical Garden, the 16057. So this is a design by Armageddon 1030. That is the rebrickable name, but I think he also goes with the nickname Yua a lot. And yeah, this thing has 3,383 pieces. So, I mean, Mould King has done a botanical garden before. They worked back in the day with the designer Bertil from Rebrickable. Or that you may know under this name from Rebrickable, I should rather say. This one, however, is much larger, as you can see, and has a much higher much higher piece count. Let me just check this here. So the one I was referring to was this one here, the 16019, and it had around, let me just check, it had, where's the piece count? Content, there, 2,147 pieces. And it was basically a modular size, so 32 by 32 studs. The new one is definitely larger, and it has more than 1,000 pieces more. You can buy this one over in Asia for around 100, starting from 106 euros. And then we have the M18 Hellcat Tank Destroyer 20032 by Mould King. So that is interesting, that one. So why am I not finding this? Let me just check. I'm pretty sure, no, I think I don't have any data on this one on my English site, but I do know that Cobi has done an M18 Hellcat before, but not many. Actually, I think only one, and this has been years ago. So if you're in the market for an M18, because it is a very iconic tank on the European Second World War battlefield. I mean, I think the Americans made almost 2,500 of these, and I think, at least in my point of view, I mean, I'm not really into tanks that much, but it is quite interesting because this thing was fast, like really, really fast. It made, I think, up to 55 miles an hour. And again, we're talking Second World War here. So this thing was a lot faster than anything the Germans could build. And because of that, I think it was, if it was at full speed, it was almost impossible to hit it. I mean, of course, you could always hit it by accident, because this was just too fast for the optics or the targeting technology that the tanks had at the era. So quite interesting. It has a 5-member crew. My understanding is it was not armored very well, but it was fast, like really, really fast. So anyhow, Cobi has made a tank for that. Keep always in mind, Cobi has Mould King, I'm sorry, has a very different approach when it comes to Cobi, because these things, this is more like a motorized set. So this is remote controlled. It has 971 pieces. You can buy it for around 50 bucks. But again, different idea compared to Cobi. With these things, you can drive around. And yeah, but here you go, the Mould King M18 Hellcat. And then we have 2 MOCs from Sembo, which are now available over in Asia. Again, I'm not really into also Gundams. Is Gundam the right name? So I don't know if there's any pop cultural reference I should know about. For me, it's just a MOC, but it has a certain Gundam vibe based on my almost non-existing knowledge, I should rather say. Anyhow, this thing has 1,207 pieces, 10602 by Sembo. And then there's the second MOC, the sister MOC, if you will, 10601, has around 1,118 pieces. And yeah, they are huge, they are red. And my understanding is you have, based on this image that I see right now, that you have different weapon loadouts, if you will, which at least the 001 has. For the other one, I can't confirm this. But here you go, 2 Sembo MOCs, both of them for around 50 bucks in China. And then we're moving on to ZHEGAO, and here we have the Doro Beer Tree House. I actually don't know, is that any pop culture reference? Do they have a license for this? I do not know. But anyhow, 612036, it's mini blocks, keep that in mind. And you can pre-order this one in Asia for around 23 bucks, or starting from 23 bucks right now, 835 pieces. But again, this is mini bricks, so this is a lot smaller than regular bricks, but still a lot bigger than what diamond blocks or nano blocks are doing. Anyhow, this is roughly 24 by 19 by 20 centimeters, so quite small. And like I said, you can buy this one or pre-order it for around 23 bucks. And then we come to reading recommendations. We have only one review yet this week that we published. Actually was written by Stone Garden. From our team, the 85016, the Fantasy Gumball machine. So a gumball, I mean, of course, we have a picture here how this typically looked like, for instance, over here in Germany. But of course, in Japan, the gashapon, I apologize for my ignorance. This was for sure pronounced entirely wrong. It's still a big thing, but I guess depending on the area you live, these things may have looked different or are looking different today. But there have always been these stand standing variation that you can just put on a shelf or on a desk or on a table. And this is actually what Fantasy has made a set about. So Stone Garden, as always, quite an extensive review. She looked at all the different components and what you can do with the machine, plus what potential options are for extending this one or using it in different scenarios. Anyhow, if you're interested in that, as always, I will put a link down below, as I do for all the sets and of course all the MOCs, because now we're talking about MOCs of the week. Only for this week, but there are some quite cool designs in there. So first we have the Renaissance Shipwright by Arcelus, and this one looks so amazing. So I don't know if this is something that if I see this, I think about Venice, Florence, something like that. And yeah, especially Venice, I think. This is a beautiful representation, I think. Amazing building technique. So he's only asking for $8. So or she, I actually don't know who Arcelos is, but the design is amazing, and it's very detailed. Interesting building techniques on there. So if you're in the market, or if you're currently thinking about building, I don't know, a Venice MOC or something like that, this may be the thing for you to get started. Really beautiful. The main building or the shipwright itself is almost like a freeform MOC, not entirely. I mean, it's basically based on plates, but it's not like on a base plate or anything like that. Looks really, really cool. And like I said, beautiful detail in there, and just an overall beautiful design, let's put it that way. And then we have, by the designer BlueBrixx, for free, the 4 season poplars. So basically 4 trees in 4 different seasons. So, I mean, maybe you're in the market just building exactly these. Maybe, I mean, they should go very well. I mean, if I look at these trees, I think about Tuscany, for instance. So this could go well with your Renaissance shipwright. But, I mean, in general, the trees are amazing, but it could also be interesting to look at the building techniques, because they're really beautiful trees designed here by BlueBrixx. And like I said, the instructions are for free. And then I think I talked last week about the the Tavern pack by Merlins Design. So this is now the Inns pack. Similar concept, a lot of interior, including a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons in there with the Mimic. So this could go exact. So for instance, I don't know, if you have been highly impressed by Lego's Dungeons and Dragons set and are now thinking about your own MOC, but you're maybe saying, okay, interior looks complicated, not really sure about the building techniques, what kind of pieces do I need? So this may be for you. I mean, he's asking for $10 for 760 pieces MOC design. That's rather on the higher side, but it looks really beautiful, and I think it could really get you started to put an amazing interior in your own inn. Or maybe if you have built another MOC where, let's say, the interior is lacking a little bit, or maybe one of the Lego sets, so then this may be for you. In general, Merlins Design, amazing account if you're into these kind of small things. So as you can see here, he has a banquet table as well, a taverns bar, and also an entire tavern pack. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in there as well. And then we come to the Greenhaven Island by Lego Alfactotum. Not really sure if I pronounced this one correctly. It's a MOC with almost 7,000 pieces, but I think it's a beautiful MOC, amazing design, rather simplistic, I would say, when it comes to building techniques. Pretty straightforward, but I think that's a good thing. It should be relatively easy to build. It looks like you don't need that many different lots in the design, by mean of similar pieces. So this one looks very robust, very straightforward, but at the same time very detailed, and just a beautiful design overall. Really like also the tree design. I think it's one of the best trees I've seen in a while. I'm using the standard grass piece in large quantities, which is, at least over here in Europe, relatively easy to come by. So yeah, this may be for you. It's also a freeform MOC, which is always great to see. I mean, it's pretty large. I mean, if you want to build it exactly like this one here, I think you need a pretty big shelf, but it looks amazing. And I think it's also a great MOC design just to use as inspiration for your own project. With that, I do hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment. Subscribe, please, to the channel. We are still pretty low on subscriber count, especially compared to my German one. But wherever you listen to this or see this, rate, comment, like, give stars. I don't know. It is called different on any platform, but whatever you can do, I really appreciate it. With that, thanks for listening. See you next week.